Plucked right out of the comments section and served up hot to you today. We're exploring the job of ring announcing next. I'm Mike Quackenbush, and this is Till We Make It. And if you are passionate about the craft of professional wrestling, and you're never done learning all about it, you've landed in the exact right place. Join the Till We Make It tribe, subscribe down below, and enable those notifications so you find out every time I push out a new video, which tends to be every Wednesday and Friday around here. Recently, I've gotten a lot of messages from members of the Till We Make It tribe, which require individualized responses. And if you need my personal attention on matters like your upcoming tryout or feedback about a recent match you've had, the honing of your in-ring character, or anything of that nature, you can book a one-on-one with me. There's a link right now down in the descriptors that'll take you to the platform Wizio, which is built expressly for that purpose. So go ahead and hit that link. Did I mention? It's in the descriptors. I did mention it, didn't I? All right, let's get to it. Pro wrestling ring announcing, which is a job wholly separate from commentating a match, is the supporting role which will afford you the most amount of face time with the audience, more than any referee will enjoy, more than any ringside manager will enjoy, and yet it is still just a supporting role. Is that how it's going to be today, Garage Door? All the noise and rattling? If you need some insight in a supporting act's role on a pro wrestling card, at the end of today's video, I'm going to link you to something I made some time ago for the channel called 4 Tips for Wrestling's Supporting Cast. I happen to think that a pro wrestling ring announcer must satisfy 2 objectives during every live performance. Number 1, they must narrate the entire universe of wrestling for the audience. And 2, they must bookend the experience for the audience as well. For my money, the greatest ring announcer of all time is the late, great Howard Finkel, who we lost in 2020. And the greatest living ring announcer has performed under the names Gavin Loudspeaker as well as Loud and Noxious throughout his career. And part of what made these guys great in their role is that they approached the job of ring announcing as if they were the master of ceremonies. And that is a subtle yet crucial distinction. We've all seen people who stand there stiff as a board in a rented tuxedo reading off of index cards, and yes, sadly, that does pass for ring announcing, but it isn't great. Speaking of, if you can think of a great ring announcer, leave their name down below in the comment section for me, followed by a nonsensical emoji. Thank you very much. Part of what makes a great ring announcer great at their job is their ability to fulfill both of those 2 objectives I just outlined for you a moment ago. So first, they must be able to reliably narrate the entire universe of a wrestling organization. So if you as a customer turn up and don't understand how a battle royal works, the ring announcer is going to provide you with all the information you need to understand its function. If you, as a customer, don't appreciate the objective of a ladder match, well, the ring announcer is going to supply you with all the critical context you need to enjoy the physical spectacle that follows. Really? A great ring announcer must be able to narrate a wrestling event in such a way that it sounds intelligent to seasoned fans while is also proving accessible to the uninitiated. And they can do this through clear diction and an ironclad understanding of everything taking place on the card. If they have gaps in their knowledge, or they are unable to convey their knowledge in a clear and concise manner to the fans on hand, then they fail that first objective. They fail to narrate the universe of pro wrestling. It's critical you understand this next part, so listen carefully. The other objective a great ring announcer must fulfill is bookending the experience for the consumer. Typically, the ring announcer's voice is their point of entry into the show at the very beginning, and it's also the last thing they will hear as the show concludes. So the way in which the ring announcer welcomes them into the show environment and also sends them back out at the conclusion of the performance will have a lot to do with how much they are able to enjoy the show as it is and how they frame the experience in their memory upon exiting the venue. If upon hearing that you're doubting how much influence the ring announcer has over the audience's enjoyment of the show, then we need to talk a little bit about a technique called priming. And most specific to the job of a ring announcer is semantic priming, which is all about connecting words and associations in the mind of the listener. Let me give you an example. The name of the wrestling organization I founded back in 2002 is Chikara. And truth be told, most people probably have no idea what the Japanese word Chikara translates to in the English language. It actually means power, strength, or influence. But none of those things are of primary relevance to the experience we want our customers to have. And so, using semantic priming, we've drawn an association between the term Chikara and a fun party atmosphere in this way. Whenever our ring announcer says Chikara, that is followed by the fun-filled Lucha Super Party. We want to connect those ideas in the mind of our consumers in the same way that we all associate Nike shoes with endurance or Downy detergent with softness. This association can best be handled by the person with the most face time in front of the audience and whom they trust to narrate the universe, supply the critical context for understanding. And of course, that's the master of ceremonies. That's the ring announcer. A pro tip for you. Learn all the differentiating value propositions of the wrestlers appearing on the card. And keep in mind, at your home promotion, they may not refer to them as DVPs, they might be called log lines. But understand what differentiates each character on the roster from one another and what their individual values are. This will impact the way that you announce them and you react to them once they're in the ring. This is really important because once you demonstrate to the audience that you will reliably narrate the entire universe of a wrestling organization, they will look for you to supply context about how they are supposed to respond to the characters. And that is a key bit of critical context that only the very best ring announcers ever seem to deliver. If you want to exponentially expand your understanding of pro wrestling's bizarre history, then you gotta grab my latest and greatest. Pro Wrestling History, 6 Threads and 16 Decades, traces the emergence of 6 fascinating innovations like intergender wrestling matches and junior heavyweight wrestling style across the last 160 years. And it's available for you either on Amazon or on Audible. And as promised, appearing now is a link to that video containing tips for pro wrestling's supporting cast. It is a logical next step after watching this one.